right out of a dream. Never seen a sky so.
Welcome everyone. This is episode 88 of the Matt Ryan Show. Ryan is on vacation this week, but we will indeed have the show. This week it'll be a quick one as, of course, we're back from Hangout Fest last week, and this week is our NCAA baseball tournament preview show. Of course, the brackets came out today, and the road to Omaha officially is going to be underway on Friday. The LSU Fighting Tigers, they drew the number 2 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, which means they will have home field advantage all the way until Omaha if they make it that far. And then if they do happen to make Omaha, they will be the home team in the opening game against whoever they may play if they get there. But that's 2 weeks away. We'll see if they even get there. They have to get through regionals and super regionals first. Speaking of regionals, LSU drew UNC Wilmington as the 2 seed in the Baton Rouge Regional. The Tulane Green Wave will come in as the 3 seed. And Lehigh, the champions of the Patriot League, come in as the 4 seed in a draw that is probably about as good as LSU could have hoped for, and they're being rewarded for their success in the regular season. LSU will play Lehigh on Friday at 3 p.m. on the SEC Network. They are one of the lowest-ranked teams to get into the tournament, so it'll be interesting to see what LSU goes with here. I think they may go with Bain to start the game, or they're going to go with Poche, maybe to sort of give him a confidence boost. And it's no disrespect to Lehigh, but I think this is one of those opponents that Maneri may roll the dice to get Bain going on, and then that gives you the chance to get into the winner's bracket on Saturday. And, of course, go with Alex Lang and then have Poche ready to go on Sunday to try to potentially move on to a super regional, which LSU would indeed host against the winner of the Houston regional, who LSU is paired with. And so one of those 4 teams will come to Baton Rouge if LSU does indeed win their regional at home this weekend. And the 4 possibilities are, 1 is a potential rematch with the Houston Cougars, who came back out of the losers bracket to eliminate the LSU Tigers in their own stadium last year from a regional. The number 2 seed is a very familiar foe for LSU fans in the Rice Owls. That, I think, will be the team that does get out of Houston. In fact, it almost seems like it's been a curse to be paired with LSU lately, as 6 out of the last 7 years when LSU has hosted a regional, or 6 out of the last 7 times, the team that has been the host site that's been paired up with LSU has actually lost 6 out of those last 7. So it almost seems like it's been a curse lately. But then again, this is a different year. We'll see what happens. Houston is definitely a very capable team. The LSU Tigers actually met Houston back in the Astros Classic earlier this year and beat them by a score of 2-0 for what I remember. But also, with a little bit of Louisiana flavor, the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns draw the 3 seed and will be a tough out in that one as well, as they are a team that did lose some talent from last year, but they've been playing great ball lately and earned their way into the tournament by winning the Sun Belt Conference tournament. And then wrapping it out is Houston Baptist, who is another one of those teams that basically played their way in by winning their conference tournament. So all the action begins for the LSU Tigers this Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. The Tigers will play the opening game against Lehigh, and if they go on to win that, they will go on to face the winner of Tulane and UNC Wilmington in the 7 o'clock primetime game on Saturday. But that's the latest, and as soon as we get back from commercial break here, we'll go through quick rapid fire who Ron and I think will indeed win all 16 regionals. Welcome back to episode 88 of the Matt Ryan Show. Just a reminder that next week Ryan will be back, and it will be our Women's World Cup show. We'll go ahead and just like last year with the Men's World Cup, we'll go through the entire women's bracket and try to do the best we can in predicting who we think will win. And if LSU gets the job done, of course, we'll have our Super Regionals preview show in addition to that collaborated all together. But Close out episode 88 tonight. We're going to go through rapid fire, who Ryan and I think will advance to the round of 16 of the NCAA baseball tournament. We'll go ahead and start with the number 1 seed, UCLA. I think Ole Miss maybe gives them a challenge and maybe even gets a game off of UCLA, but I think the Bruins are just going to be too tough out west. So to go ahead and take that regional. Paired with theirs is the one in Santa Barbara. And we have the 2 seed in USC moving on and out, where we think they'll upset Santa Barbara there at home and would set up a UCLA-USC matchup, which I'm sure TV goers would love. Moving on to Stillwater, we got Oklahoma State moving in that regional, being the likes of St. John's, Oral Roberts, and Arkansas. And they're paired with the potential Cinderella darling as Missouri State becomes the first Missouri Valley Conference team to ever get a national seed in baseball. I don't see them really having a problem advancing in their regional. I think they'll go ahead and move on to play Oklahoma State. In Miami, I think they'll get through their regional, defeating the likes of FIU, Columbia, and East Carolina. And then the other sort of Cinderella darling, Dallas Baptist, a team that's been making their name the last couple of years in the NCAA tournament. Do they have enough to get to the Supers this year? Ron and I think Oregon State, from the Pac-12 will somehow get out of that one. That's one of those ones I think, could easily go to the Monday. We're going to go with Oregon State on that one. Florida State Regional, Ryan and I got College of Charleston as the 2 seed moving on in that one. We think they should have been a regional host, and were snubbed out of it by the likes of who we think was Cal State Fullerton. They got in by namesake, at least according to what we think. But we think the Cougars from College of Charleston are a good baseball team, and they're going to move through to that one. And they're paired up with the Florida Gators regional over there in Gainesville. We don't think the Gators have any problem getting out as a national seed, and we'll move on to a super. And then, of course, we're picking LSU to win the one in Baton Rouge. And, of course, as we hinted earlier, in the Houston regional, we got Rice moving out into that one playing LSU. In College Station, we got Texas A&M moving on, although I think Coastal Carolina can give them all they can handle and potentially move that one to Monday. A&M's a team that can definitely score a lot of runs, but their pitching has been a little suspect this year. But we'll see what happens in that one. They're paired with a very intriguing regional where TCU is hosting. I think TCU does get out of it, but I think North Carolina State can give them a run for their money, as well as North Carolina State was in the World Series just 2 years ago. And don't count out Stony Brook, that 3 seed this year. They're not the 4 anymore. They actually had a good season. They're a team that could potentially get out of there as well, but we think TCU will slip out of it over there in Fort Worth. In the Big Ten, Illinois, the team with the least amount of losses this year. Everybody's wondering, can they put it together? Now they're actually playing let's go to non-conference schedule. The Big Ten, although did get 5 teams this year. I think Notre Dame gets out of that one. We're going to go with the 2 seed on that one too. We're not going all chalk on this one for sure. They're paired with the Nashville Regional over there in Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has stud pitching. Ryan and I definitely think Vanderbilt's going to move on to the next regional and got possibly one of the best draws they could have asked for. Speaking of Cal State Fullerton, who we were talking about earlier, Arizona State is the number 2 seed in that one, and that was another team that could have definitely hosted. We got the Wildcats, not the Wildcats, the Sun Devils moving on into that one. And then, of course, the final one, Louisville. They're just a solid team. They've been the only team in the country to go to the World Series the last 2 years. They may make it 3 in a row. We think they easily get out of their regional as well. But that's all of our rapid-fire super regional picks. And we'll see you next week for episode 89 of the Matt Ryan Show. And stay tuned to our Facebook page, of course, and Twitter handle at the Matt Ryan Show. And we'll be giving you score-by-score updates during LSU's regional games this weekend. But until then, as usual, good night, America. And thanks to all the men and women who serve in our military. And, of course, the ones that have graciously given their lives and sacrificed their lives for the country here on Memorial Day. But that's all the time we have for tonight. Ryan will be back next week, of course. And it'll be episode 89 of the Matt Ryan Show, the Women's World Cup preview show, and potentially Super Regional preview show as well.
Oh, somewhere